When we started, and again, I was never a distribution guy. I was always a label guy. So when we created ADA, we were trying to figure out what's just that question. What's a fair distribution fee? Well, you can't be fair and establish one thing, because if you've got a label that's doing $20 or $30 million worth of business, like an Epitaph Records, for example, and you've got Saddle Creek from Omaha, who before these Bright Eyes records came out, was literally selling records out of a record store called Homer's, and that was it. Mm-hmm. How do you come up with something that works for both? So we came up with basically a fee that's driven by volume. And it's really, the justification was, it's real easy to distribute well-known records where there's lots of demand. It doesn't require a lot of work for us to go out and present. Trying to think of a really easy record to sell.
Elliott Smith.
An Elliott Smith record, right? Unfortunately, Elliott was gone. There was huge demand for that record. All you have to do is present it intelligently, make sure you do the right thing. It's easy to sell. However, to take a brand new band that's unknown, that is not sophisticated from a marketing standpoint, with an unknown label or a label that doesn't have clout or leverage in the marketplace, meaning, hey, I'll give you that if you do this for me, as a favor or whatever, it's really hard work. And for our organization, which is about 60 people, that's the hardest thing we do, so that we charge the highest fee for that. So we basically just came down to something as simple as possible. If you sell less than $1 million worth of business on an annual, if you do less than $1 million worth of business on an annual basis, our highest rate is 24. Our lowest rate is about 14.2. And if you can do $20 million a year, you can get to 14.2. Why do we get to 14.2? It's what Warner charges their labels internally. We didn't want to be less than that, because that seemed somewhat, you can imagine Atlantic would be kind of pissed off if Saddle Creek was getting a better distribution fee than Atlantic was. Atlantic does probably $350 million a year. So it didn't make any sense. But that's what we did. And it's based on trigger points. So if for example, if George comes to me and he's got a brand new label, I'm going to quote him 24. If Epitaph comes to me and says, hey, I consistently do $20 million worth of business every year, I'll give them credit for that, and then they'll have the trigger points beyond that. So they determine their fee based on how they sell. And I think that most of the industry now, at least independently, is doing some variation of that type of situation.
You're well, I mean, you know this, but you're well below the industry standard.
We try to be low, not because we try to be discount, but we try to be fair. Our system is optimized to try to help indies grow. We want to be an accelerant to growth. So whatever we can do to help an indie along, that's what we try to do.
And I should point out, because Andy's too humble to admit it, of the indie distributors that he mentioned, he has double the market share of his nearest competitor.